Hi everybody, I'm Jack, and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me this morning. It's Sunday morning where I am. Already been up and out a little bit, and I am having a nice big green smoothie for breakfast. Excuse me. I always have to make sure when I'm doing this during a video I don't have green all over me. But anyway, I've been really lazy on the weekends lately, but I don't give myself a hard time for that. I'm not an achiever. I don't need to be going all the time. And one thing when on the weekends, and since I'm by myself, I'm a loner, I'm always alone on the weekends, I spend lots of times, and I have lots of times just to ponder through things in my mind. Catch up on some of the social media stuff during the week, read some conversations, look at some videos, check out some comments on things that I just haven't had the time to do during the week. And sometime when I'm going through my routine or doing my day-to-day or participating in the same groups on the line, social media, reading comments or whatever, I have a little exercise I've always liked to try to do, or like to do. I step outside of myself. I like to look at things that I do every day, but somehow I like to step out of my perspective of looking at it and just see like these little things that we take for granted that we're doing every day, or that we participate in, or that we observe every day, and looking at them through some fresh eyes. So yesterday I'm going, back and forth through different groups and conversations and opinions on all this stuff, all this great world of high-carb vegan. And I don't know, I just got caught up on a couple of the threads, and then I'm watching a TV show yesterday, or like it's a news story, not a news story. It's one of these 2020 type stories, and it was about these doctors. It may have been an infomercial type thing because I think they were taking money, but basically what it was these volunteers that they were in some Latin American country. Now I know there's different organizations that do this, but they were fixing cleft palates on children. And just the sheer joy in these parents' eyes, I mean, it was a very touching thing to watch. I'm not a big, I worry about myself sometimes. Honestly, I don't have the full range of emotions of normal humans. I'm very, I can be cold on certain things, and yeah, I don't think I'm a bad person, but I just don't have that big full range of emotions where everything gets to me like most people. But anything with kids, man, oof, I'm a big softie when it comes to that. And I'm watching these families that have next to nothing, and I'm just seeing the experience of them taking their children to this clinic and having these doctors, and in a lot of these little third world countries where these doctors go, there's a very big stigma to children that have something like that. They're shunned. They can even be thought of as having evil spirits. They can even be killed in some cultures. So this is a big thing, and to see the look on these parents' faces, when they see their child for the first time. And then I flip over to some of these little conversations we have, and I go outside of myself. And pardon my language, but the first thought that comes to my head is, are you fucking kidding me? We're sitting here, every day, I'm in a conversation over a potato. Is potatoes bad? Is starch good? Should you eat all starches? Or starch is bad for you? Grains. And you know what? There's people all over the world that would give anything to have a potato today, that would have grains, that they could have fruit. Hell, they're in such desperation they would eat rotten fruit. They would eat rotten carcasses because that's what their reality is. And it just makes me take pause sometimes as we sit and we delve these deep subjects of the particulars of the diet, not just are we doing a good job trying to be conscious for the world, for the animals, for the planet, for our health, but are we empathetic to others out there? Do we see what's really going on out there other than our little world and all these little minor things? They're insignificant, in the big picture of life. Doesn't mean that we don't pay attention to our health, but I think sometimes, that's why I just like to keep it simple, and I'm trying to get to as good a health as possible, so I can kind of get the health checked off the plate. I'm kind of on, on autopilot on that, and I can focus on other things, and I can actually think about some of these things. I would like to, one day I would like to do something like that. I mean, I'm not a doctor, and I don't know if it would be hands-on. Maybe it would be through media, maybe it would be through writing, maybe it would be through helping a group with their social media or whatever. But I'd like to do something that was that had some substance to it. I mean, as we sit around and think, oh my gosh, should you eat this or this? There's people every single day that they don't even have clean water. I watch these videos sometime, and people, people talk about on there, well, there's two different things. There's always people that want to sometimes tear down happiness when it is there. I've talked about why I'm so ridiculously happy before, but I haven't really gotten to the root of the source. A lot of the reason I'm happy is because of the new perspective that I've had, and this came before the diet. I've had somewhat this perspective for the last 5, 7, 8 years, even before the cleanliness came, is that, I just have it so much better than so many people in the world. And I don't have a whole lot. Like I say, my happiness, people make comments sometimes, and it's usually not a negative comment, it's just kind of like a poking comment, like, oh yeah, but sure, you've got it great. People think I'm happy because I live like I live, or people think I'm happy because I'm in Costa Rica. I love being in Costa Rica. It's nice being in the tropics. It makes my lifestyle much easier. But my happiness does not come from some sort of magical place I live. I like to think that my happiness just comes from somewhere inside some mentality that I have, and it comes from a gratefulness. I almost say, I've watched these videos where people talk about, they're almost knocking people like me, but they're kind of trying to be real, and they do have a point. They talk about people that do the videos and only show the good side. They only show the happy. And it's almost like, well, do you want me to show, or are you looking for me to have problems? Do you want me to show problems? I'm not, how do I put this? I am happy because not being ecstatically happy with my situation would be a slap in the face to the universe. It would be ungrateful, because how can I not be happy? I've got this house. I've got a roof over my head. I've never had a period in my life where I haven't had a roof over my head. That's a big thing. There's a lot of places in the world where people can't say that. I eat every day. I've never known hunger. That's why I like to, I get a little annoyed sometimes, and I don't mean in a bad way. A lot of these things, today, this is just a free chat. I'm just free flowing, not being judgmental, but I sometimes get annoyed with people when they're talking about being hungry. I would say none of us. And I know there's always the exception. There's somebody that could be homeless out there right now. There could be somebody that's just struggling with big circumstances. Or there could be somebody that's had that in their past. So I'm not saying, you almost have to make disclaimers here. There's always little lawyer types that are trying to come up with an exception. Well, I know somebody, so it's possible. But most of us have never felt real hunger. Whereas there's people that wake up in utter pain every morning. There's people that wake up and watch their children with distended stomachs suffer because they aren't going to eat today. They didn't eat yesterday. Who knows when they're going to eat again. And we sit and pontificate over whether white rice is bad. Oh my God, you're eating white rice. Oh, you ate garlic. That's terrible. That's not good for you. And hey, I like to get in there too, but it's like I say, sometimes I just like to step back and look at some of the silliness that, that we discuss out there, that we're not really, really thinking about how fortunate we are, or how fortunate I am. I can't talk for anybody else. I use the common we sometimes, but that's just vocabulary. I'm not going to sit and police my vocabulary just because somebody could read some deep meaning into it. I've told you before, people ask me deep questions all the time. They try to get deep with me. I'm about as deep as a mud puddle, people. I keep it simple. I think there's but you know what I found? I used to ask myself this question: would you prefer to be very highly intelligent and not happy, or very happy and not terribly intelligent? I don't remember what my thoughts used to be on that, but I think I know for now, for sure, I'd be happy. I don't need to be all that smart. But I don't know, this is really a rambling one on a Sunday morning when you're just talking about an off subject like that's non-food related. But yeah, I mean, sometimes I think in life it's just good in general to step back from any situation, because we kind of get into these patterns of every aspect of our life, of just seeing things from the same old way, the way our parents did, or even just the way our peers do. But we get used to seeing things through the same eyes every day, and there can be some real value into looking at things through fresh eyes. I mean, I catch myself all the time, even though I try to talk about simplicity, and this show helps me a lot. Going back and watching my own videos helps me a lot, because I realize, like, sometimes I'll do a video and I'll be like, well, you're not very good in that area, and it kind of makes me reflect on that and go back and kind of think about it. And a lot of times it does change my thought process, and it gives me a perspective on different people's way of looking at things too. Just to be able to look at things from your side is not a very balanced way of looking at the world, because I can't think one person out of 7 billion people has all the answers. I can't even think, if I'm part of a group, I'm not part of a group, I don't think of that many people, but even if I'm part of a group that I identify really closely with, of 2,000 people, what is 2,000 people on an earth of 7 billion? We all have vastly different ways of interpreting the data around us. We all have different ways of thinking about things. And there's a lot of value to be gained from me looking at things through your eyes, through this person's eyes, through this person's eyes, through this person's eyes. And when we look at things through the eyes of the weakest in our society, the less fortunate in our society, the most downtrodden in our society, I think it gives us more of an appreciation of what we have every day, the way we live every day, and hopefully it sparks something in us to want to help improve the situation of some of the people that are not as fortunate as us. Like I say, down the road, I mean, the food thing, I mean, I don't know, I go back and forth with this. I do want to help people with food related issues. I want to try to be an example to help people to eat a cleaner diet, because I think that'd help a lot of the problems in the world, because a lot of a cleaner diet gets rid of some of the aggression, although it doesn't, because we've all seen those nasty vegans out there, and it gives us a little bit more clarity to see situations a little bit more clearer than we might if we're eating that standard American diet, getting all fogged up in our heads. But anyhow, this is just a little kind of me just doing a little therapy with myself. Maybe I'll do one of those back and forths one day where I'll psychoanalyze myself. I'll film myself sitting up as the doctor and laying on the couch as the patient. But to finish up, and then get back to my lazy weekend, the next time you get in a heated discussion on a food-related issue, the next time you're beating up on somebody, or the next time you're seeing somebody say something drastically that you disagree with, remember that this is all stuff that's not worth hating each other over, getting in arguments over. There's real problems in the world. There's people out there that would trade, it's almost blasphemous, there's people out there that would trade places with you and your little problems and me and my little problems any day of the week. So, I was looking at a little article in the Huffington Post that I found, and I thought this might be a couple of cool little things to finish up this talk. And it's titled 10 Ways to Get Perspective. I won't read all of them, I'll just read a few. Get away. Consider taking a break by going on a retreat or traveling somewhere new. Being away from the content of your everyday life helps you get out of the rut and gives you space to clear your mind. New faces and fresh experiences do wonders for gaining perspective. Take time to drop in, reflect, and enjoy yourself. Treat yourself. This is not to be confused with retail therapy or maxing out your credit card. This is about practicing true self-care. What experience would allow you to feel greater self-love and nurturing? It could be a massage or a lazy afternoon at the beach. I say be lazy. These lazy weekends do me very good. What feels most helpful and loving for you right now? Look at your trajectory. Take a moment to close your eyes and imagine what your life would look like 10 years from now, 20 years from now. What would it look like if you had stayed on the same path? Notice how you feel. Does it give you a sense of happiness, excitement, or peace? How do you feel? Does it give you a sense of happiness, excitement, or peace? That's a big question right there. Be in good company. During life changes, it's important to surround yourself with pure-hearted spirits who will genuinely support you in your path. So many people out there don't have this around them, or they're dealing with people that are just assholes, holding them back, and they make excuses. Well, it's so-and-so. Well, you know, you don't have to let these people in here. During life changes, it's important to surround yourself with pure-hearted spirits who will genuinely support you in your path. This includes yourself and your own self-talk. If you were your own best friend, what would you tell yourselves? What, would you berate him or her, or offer words of encouragement? Spend time in nature. Nature is the ultimate healer. It has a rhythm of its own that is deeply nurturing. Take long walks. Take your shoes off and lie down on the ground. Let yourself be alone in nature. Notice what you observe through nature, how you feel, and what arises in your consciousness. Do something fun. Allowing yourself to enjoy and receive pleasure in life creates new pathways for openings and inspiration. It elevates your mood and energy, giving you greater perspective on what happened and what's possible. It frees up stuck energy. Tune in. Take time to be quiet and meditative. Open yourself to receiving any guidance or new information about your life. Simply having the intention to be open to receiving guidance can set off a new stream of experiences, naturally leading you to your next steps. Trust in the process of life. Trust what feels right in your heart. Be healthy. When we're under great amounts of stress, it's easy to fall off the bandwagon. Stop exercising and eat heavier foods. This can throw us off balance. Staying healthy can help us make the right decisions. Notice exercise sounds a lot like exercise. Moving can help us purge our tension and inner demons. Being healthy keeps us in flow. So it is good. I'm not saying abandon the health, not even studying the health or talking about it. We just need to keep it in its place. And 10, oh, this is really apropos for me, spend time alone. When you're going through major life changes, being alone may be the last thing you really want to do. Oftentimes we want to fill up empty space we feel with TV or an overly chatty friend. Being around too many people and ideas can drown out the still inner voice that resides within you when you are quiet. Solitude gives you the space and clarity to see what's really true for you. Anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed this nice little Sunday morning chat. If you like it, give me a thumbs up. Hope you'll subscribe to the channel. And I hope you guys will all have a beautiful week coming up. I love each and every one of you, and I really appreciate you taking the time to watch my videos. Peace.